Good morning, folks. It's the 15th of March 2024. Little sunrise here today from Mountain Home Cemetery in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Looking out over the North Valley, the north approaches coming down the Kalamazoo Valley. And of course the downtown area there is one of Kalamazoo's older and more established cemeteries. I'm in Mountain Home, as I mentioned. And I take a little look around through here. This little stone right here 3 summers ago, was jet black and covered with biologics. These other stones next to it here of the same type of material, same type of marble, don't even compare. All like this right here and worse. You couldn't read it or really even tell what it was other than a small woodsman. So I cleaned it and she's looking good. Right over here I'll show you a couple others. Be right back. I wanted to mention a second, back in the day, late 70s, mid to late 70s, we'd come up here and watch the college kids, as they were called. K College is right over there on the other side of West Main. The borders of the cemetery. They come up here with glow-in-the-dark frisbees in the middle of the night and play across this valley. And we'd sit around here and watch them. And one day the police came in and ran everybody out. I wasn't here when that happened, but that was it. Their respect was shown here. Again, the beautiful sunrise coming over there, right? Right here in this little center part, as you see here, it's a little circle, is the oldest burial in the cemetery. It happens to be one of the pioneers, and I'll be going into that further in another video. I'm gonna take a look over here a second. Right back. I found these 3 stones that same summer and took about a week to clean them, and it took a couple more months for the sun to do its trick with the D2. You could not read these. They were totally illegible. You couldn't even see where there was any writing. They were covered with moss and black biologics all the way down. And they're not anymore, and we know who they are. Go around the back here as well. Take a little look. Over here you see the large monument of the Van Dusen family here in Kalamazoo. Instrumental with the museum and the library, the Van Dusen room downtown, and the whole thing. You can read more about them online. This is little Wilhelmina, and she was the known as Willie, young daughter, died very young, 1885 to 1888, little 3-year-old. And they're all here together. This kind of a large tree, medium-sized tree, that growing down into the graves and displacing them right along here. And again, we'll take a little look here at the sunrise coming on, and we'll mosey on over here and take a look at a couple more graves. And I actually have to get up to the church. There's going to be a funeral service tomorrow, and I have to go and get things ready in the chapel and arrange things and so forth. We generally do those things on Saturday mornings for our Sunday services, but with the funeral tomorrow, I'm hopping in there a day early, so I'll be right back. During that same summer 3 years ago, I also cleaned these 2 stones, headstones. They were very dark. Couldn't read them, couldn't see the lilies here on the carvings on the right, or the cross on the left. And they sure came around nice. Nearby, Civil War veteran, his stone right here had been knocked over in the tornado, hit Kalamazoo back in '80, and you can see how black the biologicals are down here around this base. We'll thicken that, and you can see a good example here with the moss, the lichen on it. this whole stone thickly covered like that. And couldn't read it, but you can now. And you can see here in front of it where it had made quite a divot in the earth when it came to rest. The tornado knocked it down. A lot of damage here during the tornado. I'm going to remove this flag. The flag is worn, shouldn't be here. I have another flag I'll put here in its place. I'll be right back. There, now that's much better. I'm a veteran myself. I carry about a dozen of these little flags around with me. When I find them worn or tattered in these cemeteries, I replace them. Take a little walk over here and show you some more damage. Tornado damage. There was a big tree right here. Got knocked down. That's one of the reasons. The damage. These right here as well. This needs to be corrected here just a little bit. Just like that, y'all. We're good now. Actually, it was right the way it was. Sorry, Wallace. There we go. Now you're good. Right here with a beautiful sunrise this morning. Mr. Wallace W. Baldwin. Over here, not far from Mr. Baldwin, was another headstone that I cleaned 3 years ago. This is interesting too. Here's a flat right here. Just looking over the valleys here in Mountain Home. Henderson Castle's right back here. But this one right here was also totally blackened, and couldn't read a thing on it. Nothing. Had no idea. It used to have a finial. The finial is gone. It used to have other things, little carved pieces that were mounted here and here. Those are gone as well. There's a little tablet altar, if you would, right here where a bronze sat installed right there. That's gone. Somebody stripped that off. It was desecrated. It's a Masonic grave. James Walter. And you look around the back and it's very tilty, it's very tippy. It's just barely balanced there. The headpiece. You can see that someone has even jacked it up a little bit here. Try to level it. Okay, this needs attention. And the graves, the Kalamazoo area graves reclamation team and so forth, they know all about this. And there are several in here that are on their list to be worked on. Here you have a small stone, B-O-Y, our darling boy, a little child, right here. I've been in this cemetery quite a bit, and I've never noticed that one yet. You always will find something new, and I see something new over here too. There's a grave covered up right here in all of these vines at the foot of this tree. Oh my gosh, there's a lot to this. That is stiff. There's two of them, one on either side. This needs to be cut away. That's something that I'll do when the weather gets a little bit better. I'll come in here and I'll just trim that ivy just away enough to clear those two headstones right here. I can do that and make that look nice in about an hour. And so that's something that I can do. Next time you see this, you'll be able to read it. Of course, the tornado also knocked down this obelisk. They have the top end of it and some others in storage to be reset when the time comes. Over here is the very first stones that I ever cleaned in my life, and they were totally blackened, covered with biologicals, and they're not anymore. Elizabeth M. Hayes, she born 1823 and died in 1852. March 29th, anniversary's coming up. Martha E., wife of George Farwell, born April 17th. 1813, she died April 22nd, and I can't see the date. But these are the first two that I cleaned in the early summer of 2021. Right back here, just to the left of the sunrise, that's the grave of Frank Henderson and his family and his famous castle. Right up here on the hill, across the street, you can just see the one of the top towers over here. I'll zoom up on it a little bit. There it is over there. Like I mentioned, it's for sale. $5 million. The people who own that also own the Wood Upjohn home downtown. Beautiful mansion. That also is for sale. And they also own a property out on Portage Road by the airport known as the Beacon Club. It is now, of course, they've repurposed it into a kind of an Amish restaurant type of facility, and I don't know if it's even open yet, but I haven't heard that that's up for sale. Another beautiful property, but $5 million right up the hill right there. Frank would be proud. He bought all the acreage. I think he had 75 acres all behind the castle, all around there and deep into those beautiful neighborhoods. And he had the castle itself built all together for under $100,000. And you're looking at 1895, I believe it was. The whole thing, all that property. And now they want $5 million just for the home. They'll probably get it too. It's very historic. Take a little bit of a closer look over here, and then I got to get going and clean the church. Be right back. Last summer, the city came in here and repaired all the drains and so forth here, the roads in Mountain Home Cemetery. And this reminds you, dump no waste. Drains to waterways. That means the Kalamazoo River that's not too far away. And you see right there a fish stamped right there onto the cast iron. Speaking of cast iron, this is the Mountain Home Receiving Vault. It's up the little road right from West Main. There's the Sexton's Lodge. Back in the day, when it got cold out, the ground would freeze. They couldn't open the graves in the wintertime, so when people in Kalamazoo would die, they'd bring them here to this receiving vault, and they'd stack them up inside here, waiting for the springtime and the ground thaw, and they could be removed and then buried. Of course, this was built in 1878, and it is on the slate to be completely renovated back to its original state. Pretty cool. Here's a blue plastic barrel and a well-run Jeep. Here's a vault many of you have never seen in some states, including here in Michigan. It pretty much is the law that you have to have your grave, you're 6 foot deep, the whole thing. And then this placed in there, of course this lid is on here right now. The lid would be removed. Then your casket is lowered into this, down into the grave. And then there's a type of black tar, I asphaltum that's laid around the seam all the way around, and then the lid is lowered down onto it and set, and then the grave is shoveled in, the dirt's shoveled all in, and that's it. So you're in your casket, which generally has a locking device. You're sealed in a cement vault under about 5 feet of dirt and earth. And now there are, in Kalamazoo, there are, understand, availability to be buried naturally. Cemetery where you can go and actually dig your own grave. And you can bring the loved one out there, even just wrapped in a blanket, and do a natural burial. I don't know where that is, but I heard it's available now. There's also a large pet cemetery around Kalamazoo someplace. I've seen where it is on the GPS, but I've never been out there, and I thought I'd take a ride as soon as the weather breaks here decent. We'll take a look at the pet cemetery. Until then, we're going to stick to this one just for a minute, take a look at a couple other graves before I get moving along. This, of course, is the north side of the receiving vault. Be right back. Here, folks, the grave site, and I'll show you the monument of the Abercrombie family. James and Eleanor. He was born in 1824 and died, buried here in 1909. She was 1829 and passed in 1905. There's a brother, 1865, 1907, a sister over here, 1862, 1884. Interesting. Take a look at the Abercrombie monument. Now, these are not the famous Abercrombie and Fitch Abercrombies, but they're pretty famous as it were right here in Kalamazoo. There's their beautiful monument, and I actually had to get back a little ways here, see if I can zoom out. That's one of the largest monuments. It's the second largest monument here in the cemetery. I should say obelisk. It's a monument as well. This is a beautiful little site if it wasn't for that area 6 marker right here under this tree, and you can see it's budding all out. We have a little reflection of the sunrise and some clouds in the background with a little sunrise on them. It's a nice setting here. The Abercrombie family. I'll be right back. In the summer of 2022, I cleaned this little Woodsman of the World. It too, as you've heard me say in the past, was blackened with biological. You couldn't read it. You couldn't see these ferns. You couldn't see any of the writing whatsoever. But you can now. Turned out very nice. Water, soft brushes, D2, sunlight, and time. And you have the Ricks family. Ricks. Some may say Ira Ricks, born in Royalton, Vermont, April 6, 1800, died January 16, 1884. Woodsman of the World. Woodsman of the World monuments, headstones, and markers known as zinkies. The zinc alloy metal Victorian markers are my favorites. I will walk a mile to check out a zinky, as they say. There's three of them here in this cemetery. Be right back. Well, I'm right across the street here at the exit Mountain Home Cemetery, across the street from the Henderson Castle. This part of the cemetery right here is privately owned. Goes up to the home that you see in the back, and then to the north. This is Jewish Mountain Home, owned by the local Jewish church. Right here is the monument, the state monument for young man by the name of Edward Israel. He died in the first exploration to the North Pole. Back in the day. It's quite a story. I'll be doing a little bit more about him later. Talked about the Zinkies. Well, there's some Zinkies right here. Take a look at one in sunrise, looking over the to the east of the Sexton's Lodge. Back over here we have the receiving vault again, you can see. And here's a Zinkie. This is the Thomas family. And you can see right here, September 24th, 1828. He was buried September 24th, 1913, his birthday. Okay, so since 1913 or 1914, this has been here. It has not been cleaned. It has not been painted or maintained. The zinc, the metal that these are made out of, okay, they have an effect on biologicals, moss, lichens. It won't grow in here. It will not grow in this. And so they stay like this almost indefinitely. The company that made these, and there was only one of them, they really had their hand going. They really had the designs. You should see some of these Zinkies. They're just beautiful. This one's very nice, and it's a smaller one. And here they even went and had the optional, this is the family marker. You go around and see all the names, age 85 years. There's a Reverend Henry Stanwood buried here. Died November 7th, 1883. See, you look right down here on this side, and here are two Zinkie headstones of Sarah F. Stanwood, Henry Stanwood, the minister, and Sarah A. Stanwood. Very interesting. And they're sharing this Zinkie. Let's see on this side now. Sarah A. Stanwood died 1860, 64 years. 66 years. Both those ladies buried right there with the Reverend. There's also a Henrietta in here. So the Stanwoods and the Thomases shared the same Zinkie. There's probably more of a story behind that. I don't know, but I know someone who probably does, and I'll find out. Pretty cool. With that being said, here from Mountain Home Cemetery, being overlooked by the $5 million asking price of the Henderson Castle. Have a great and safe day. Thank you for watching my videos. The weather's getting better, and we're going to be getting back out here into them. Very interesting. Very interesting. Stone here. See what's on the other side. Very nice. We'll talk to you later.